brain from anatomy to functionality. Why do we need to study individual cells, genes, or synapses if we want to understand things like memory, consciousness, or thought? What's the connection between molecules and the higher functions of our psyche? This is a great question and not a simple one. The connection isn't always direct, but here's the key. Even the most advanced functions of our brain, like thinking, willpower, or consciousness, are ultimately the result of the work of specific nerve cells, brain structures, and at the most fundamental levels, specific molecules. Understanding how one level of brain organization shapes the next is essential. And it's not just about theoretical science, it has real, practical applications. For example, psychopharmacology relies on this knowledge to develop treatments for conditions like depression, addiction, and other mental health issues. By targeting molecules involved in neurotransmitter systems like serotonin, dopamine, or acetylcholine, we're able to tackle these problems effectively. So today, let's dive into this fascinating journey of understanding, from molecules to neurons, from neurons to neural networks, and all the way up to the highest mental functions. Back in the day, hundreds, even thousands of years ago, physiology as we know it didn't exist. What we had was anatomy. People could open up a brain and say, gray matter here, white matter there, a bunch of folds. But how it worked, that was a mystery. Imagine you're in the 19th century and someone hands you a laptop. You open it up, see a bunch of circuits and wires, and think, okay, this is complicated, but what does it do? That was basically the level of understanding at the time. It wasn't until the 19th century that physiology, the study of how things work, began to take center stage. Anatomy became the foundation, but the real focus shifted to how the brain and body functioned. The late 19th and early 20th centuries saw a huge leap forward with the work of pioneers like Camilo Golgi and Santiago Ramon y Cajal. These two revolutionized neuroscience by studying nerve cells and how they connect to form networks. Fun fact, they even shared a Nobel Prize, despite spending their careers arguing and competing with each other. Their research revealed just how diverse and complex neurons are, especially in parts of the brain like the cerebral cortex and cerebellum. The intricate architecture of neurons, like the giant Purkinje cells with their massive dendritic trees, shows a level of complexity that looks almost robotic, as if it were meticulously designed. But of course, these structures are the result of billions of years of evolution. The nervous system likely emerged around 1 billion years ago when single-celled organisms began forming multicellular groups. Why? Because being bigger had its advantages. You were less likely to get eaten and more likely to eat others. But being bigger also meant you needed systems to coordinate your actions, and that's where the nervous system came in. Even at the level of worms or simple organisms, we see the early hallmarks of nervous system organization: neural networks, synapses, neurotransmitters, and electrical signal transmission. To understand brain functions like memory or decision-making, we need to start at the very basics: how neurons work, how synapses transmit signals, and even how specific molecules like proteins are involved. Proteins, in turn, are controlled by genes. So yes, understanding molecular biology is crucial if we want to make sense of higher brain functions. Here's something fascinating. When we combine smaller units, like neurons, into a larger system, we often get entirely new properties. In philosophy, this is called emergence. Think about a pile of blocks on a table. Individually, they're just blocks, but if you stack them into a tower, that tower has properties, height, stability, shape, that didn't exist in the individual blocks. The same thing happens in the brain. When molecules form neurons, neurons form networks, and networks form brain structures, we get new properties like memory, thought, and consciousness. This layered understanding is not just academic, it's critical for solving real-world problems. A tiny genetic mutation, for example, can disrupt synaptic function, throwing entire mental processes into chaos. This is why neuroscience studies the brain at every level, from molecular and cellular to network and systemic levels. Even our most complex psychological processes like decision-making, willpower, or creativity are ultimately rooted in the activity of individual neurons and molecules. To understand the bigger picture, we need to study every layer of the system. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. What part of this journey surprised you the most? See you in the next video. Bye.